I'm Dana Austin, and this is Next Level Awareness. I'm going to try this conversation again. I recorded a whole conversation with myself about our Vegas trips and how you can save some money by going. I think I decided that this is where I wanted to start because if I go back a couple of years and, catch up on everything that we've been doing, I know a lot of people have had a lot of questions, probably because I don't know, we use Vegas as our little escape from Phoenix, which is kind of weird because it's hot here, it's hot there. But the nice thing about going up there is it does get you out of your area. It just gets you away a little bit. And there's just so many things to do. And it does cost a little bit, but it's not like a big trip that you have to plan a lot ahead of time. I mean, you can pretty much get a room any day of the week. Nothing's ever so busy that you just can't get in. And there's always something different to do, something you've never done before, seen before. There's all kinds of good food to eat. And honestly, that's kind of what we go up there for. We don't gamble that much. We do a little bit, and I'll explain that in a few minutes, but I think it's just become kind of one of our little ways to escape whenever we just need to get out of it's just a getaway. So what we do is we will jump in the car and drive up there. It's about 4.5 hours from the Queen Creek area in Arizona where we live. And so it is a bit of a drive, but once you get used to it, it doesn't really seem like that much. There's definitely been a few times where I wish I could have flown, but that's a whole different thing. And so we'll jump in the car, we'll drive up there, maybe spend 2 or 3 nights, eat some good food, maybe see a show or two, and then we come back and it's kind of just a nice little way to break up some of the monotony of everyday living. And so I guess here's my explanation of like how to do Vegas without spending millions of dollars, because you definitely can. I mean, I'm in some chat groups and I see these people that go up there and their gambling budget is like $10,000 just to start. And I that to me is kind of and it's all about percentages and how much money you make and how much money you want to keep and all that stuff. So, definitely keep that in mind as you're listening to this. We don't spend that much money. Stan was a Pearl member for MGM Rewards when we first met. And as a Pearl member, which is the second level up from Sapphire, Sapphire is the lowest. As a Pearl member, you get free parking. So that kind of helps you save some money. And usually there's some kind of an offer. If you go into their app, they'll give you some kind of an offer of how much you could save on your rooms. And I don't know if it's a percentage. I mean, everybody gets different offers. It doesn't matter how much you gamble. I mean, it does probably matter how much you gamble, but usually you get some kind of offer that gives you some kind of discount on the room. So the other thing um, is you want to take advantage of those offers. And then while you're there, you do want to gamble just a little bit, because if you don't gamble at all and you're just getting the discounts for the rooms, they're going to stop giving you as big a discounts. The other thing that we have found, and we didn't even know this until probably mid last year, so we had been doing it wrong for months, is when you put a card on file at the hotel when you check in, you want to put a card. We usually just use our debit card because we're going to pay for things anyway, and we usually just pay for it with our debit card. But it just depends on your budget and how much you've decided to spend and all that stuff. And as a financial advisor, I would say don't spend money that you don't have. But everybody has their different things that they do. I mean, maybe you get extra points for hotel stays, and maybe that's why you put that card on file, but just keep that in mind. So you put the card on file, and then when you're doing things around the MGM hotels, if you're a rewards member, you charge it to your room. Anything that you do, if you're getting drinks, if you're getting food, if you're shopping, anything that you can, charge it to your room. And you'll have to ask a lot of times. They don't automatically just assume that you're staying there. So you can just say, hey, can I charge this to my room? They'll look it up. They'll make sure that you're on the room and that you are allowed to charge, because that's one of the things when you check in. You got to make sure that people are whoever is in the room is allowed to charge things to the room. But you get 4 times the amount of points. So let's say you go out to eat and you spend $75 at, which is kind of a low amount, but if you spend $75 on dinner, you're going to get 4 times that amount in points towards your MGM points. The points get you the status. And the status gets you bigger discounts. It gets you bigger discounts on rooms. It gets you bigger discounts on food. It gets you bigger discounts and free comp rooms. So it that's how people go to Vegas so much. I mean, that's really the secret is you have to become a member of some of those programs and get the points. And what we were doing before, we had no idea about charging to your room. If you're just going up there and you're just swiping your debit card, you're losing out on all of that stuff. The main thing that we take advantage of is the valet parking, because once we hit gold status, you get free valet parking, which is usually about $60 a day. And so now we just pull up, we get the valet and we just tip them because it's free. And it does come off your room. I mean, it's kind of weird because sometimes stuff looks like it gets charged to your room, and then they take it off at the end. You have to be on top of your bill for sure. But there's a lot of advantages to traveling that way, getting points, earning status. And a lot of it doesn't come with an extra price tag. It just comes with being smart about what you're doing. So that's my first little tip for Vegas is just understand the point system, how it works, and take advantage of it. The other thing you can do is sometimes you can book shows. So if you go on the MGM app, you can book shows and do things like that. And that's again, if you book that stuff and you charge it to your room, more points. So if you're gonna do stuff anyway, I mean, at first, I don't know. If you decide to just start doing getaways in Vegas and you want to save money, do that. And honestly, the first few times you go up there, maybe even check into one of those timeshare things. Those timeshare places, a lot of times will give you a 3-night stay for maybe $150, and you just go to a 1 hour presentation. Say no. You definitely don't want to buy a timeshare, and you don't want to be going to Vegas all the time just for that. But if you can get up there and get the rewards and start doing the points, it's better if you have a room at MGM so you can charge things to your room. That's just the best way, honestly. But we have done so many things, and I'm gonna go into like all the different things that we've seen and done up there so that it gives you a lot of different options. One of the first times we went, Stan was working the Formula One event. So I kind of spent a whole lot of time hanging out in the hotel that we were staying in. And it was interesting. And most people aren't going to have the experiences that I had, because one of my first times in Vegas was hanging out at a hotel that was smack dab in the middle of the Formula One racetrack. So everywhere I went, if I could get out and drive, I really didn't drive very far. I drove down the street to Target a couple times, and then, but everything that was near the hotel that we were at, the streets were shut down because they were building the track for Formula One. Actually, it was already built because I think we were there the week of Formula One. And so you didn't really want to, especially if you're not familiar with the area. I definitely wasn't going to go driving around on the strip or doing anything like that by myself. But there was a couple times I needed to walk and go a couple places. So I wound up walking. We were a little off the strip at the Tuscany, and it was interesting to say the least. I definitely got familiar. I just I pulled up my Google Maps, figured out where I wanted to go, and then started walking. And it's amazing how that can teach you a lot about an area. Is just go for walks and kind of get lost and then find yourself again. And because there were a lot of roads that were shut down and blocked off, and you had to have credentials to get there, I think the place that Stan was working was kind of over by Top Golf, and it literally was probably a half a mile or less from where our room was. But because the streets were shut down, my Google Maps was telling me to go certain ways, and I probably walked about 3 miles altogether by the time I got to where he was. And it was kind of funny because I walked down this one street right underneath where the monorail runs behind. It was like the next street over from the strip to the east, I guess. And so there's just a lot of parking garages and not a whole lot going on that street. And I was walking down the street and I thought, oh, okay, so I had to go across Harmon. And then I went straight and I wound up kind of underneath the MGM walkway from the parking garage, kind of next to the parking garage. It was weird. And I was like, oh, all right, well, so let me go up here. So I go inside this building, go up the elevator, and then I started walking again. I found myself going completely the wrong way. I was literally following Google Maps, but it was just so backwards. So I think I was halfway into the MGM casino before I was like, I think I'm going the wrong way. So I turned around and I made it. I finally made it. I got over to where the Top Golf entrance was, and then I like made my way into the hotels. And then once I got there where he was at, I knew exactly where I had walked right beside there. I couldn't see him from where I was walking, but it was kind of funny because I was like, I just went a mile and a half extra out of my way where I could have just cut across this little parking lot. So, that stuff has happened to me so many times that now I'm just used to walking around Vegas and I don't walk anywhere where it's dangerous that I would be walking by myself. But, if you're just paying attention to where you're at and taking notes of your different landmarks and stuff, you'll get to know it really quick. So, the other thing that we do sometimes when we're up there is just when it's actually not bad weather, we'll get up in the morning and just go walk, and we'll walk through different casinos and we'll walk through different stores sometimes, and there's shopping and malls and different I mean, there's so much you can do that's just free, and it gets you out of the house. It gets you out into, just looking at things and having experiences and watching people. And one day we decided to get up and go walk, and I believe we were staying at either the Luxor or the W. I'm not positive, but we were staying pretty far down at the south end of the strip. And so we're like, hey, let's just walk up and see where we want to go. And eventually we decided to walk all the way to Fountain Blue. And so we got to Fountain Blue, and that was a pretty big walk. I mean, I think it was 6 miles. However long we walked about 6 miles just to get to Fountain Blue. We had breakfast, brunch, whatever it was, and then we turned around and walked back to our hotel. And it was probably one of the most fun days. We saw a lot of different things. Um, I believe we went through the Flamingo Hotel and we looked at the flamingo habitat, and none of that stuff costs any money. It's just walking up and down, and you have to avoid some of the people out there trying to, you know, get money out of you for their different little street performer things, but it's pretty easy to just ignore them and walk on. They know not to really like bug people too much. Um and then let's see some of the other things that we have done there. One of the other first times we went to Vegas, so not the same time as Formula One, but one of the other times, kind of around the same time, I bought a Go City Pass, which is an app on your phone. You can download the app and it's called Go City, and it has definitely different other cities available, but Vegas is a good one. If you're going to be there for 2 or 3 days, you can get a day pass or a 2 day pass. I think I bought the 2 day pass. Per person, I want to say it might be about $150. But if you really plan it out, you can do a lot of things in that 2 days and it'll save you a lot of money because you can do um, the link, the big sky Ferris wheel thing. You can ride on that. And yeah, it's during the day. It's not a nighttime ride, but still, you could do that. It's included. Then you can go to the top of the Eiffel Tower. You can do the wax museum. You can do, I think there's like, I don't know, 20 or 30 different things that you get to do for free because you bought that pass. Some of them involve making an appointment or a reservation, I guess I should say. Um, but other ones you can just walk up and show your pass and do your thing and it's actually very cool. I would do that again if we hadn't already done it. So, I mean, that's definitely something I would recommend for people who maybe haven't been to Vegas or haven't been able to do Vegas much because everything's so expensive. So, that's a way to save a bunch of money and actually get to see a lot of things. The other things that we do are, like I said, um, you can buy tickets to shows if you charge it to your room at MGM and you get all the extra points. We've seen Michael Jackson 1. That was probably one of the better ones. I really love it. Actually, every show we've been to. I don't know if I could say better ones or worse ones, but I've loved every single one of them. And the venues are small, so the seats are always good no matter where you sit, and they're always entertaining. You don't have to spend a ton of money at their concession stand. Sometimes they'll say you can't bring anything in with you. Other times they don't even care. That's the nice thing I will say. There's not a whole lot of restaurants that will tell you can't bring outside drinks in or something. Sometimes they do, but for the most part, you can walk around with your water bottle and your, whatever you have, and nobody's going to bother you about coming in. Or what I usually do is carry a bag. I carry like a sling bag or something, and I carry water bottles that we can close up good that I can throw in my bag. So if we happen to be stopping somewhere for lunch or going in somewhere, I don't have to like dump out my drink or throw it away or whatever. So they're used to people carrying backpacks and bags and stuff. I wouldn't get too crazy and carry like a whole giant backpack with a whole lot of stuff in it, you know? And if you're going to carry snacks, it's hot. Carry snacks that are not going to melt or get a little cooler thing to put in it because everything will just be melted and disgusting by the time you're done. But I mean, we tend to wind up doing either breakfast or we'll do like a brunch thing and then we'll eat maybe dinner. And a lot of times we'll eat something that either we can split or we can take some of it home with us. And that's why we like to stay at the Aria a lot. The Aria and Vidara both usually have refrigerators, like a full size refrigerator and a whole kitchen. So you can actually cook. You can warm up your leftovers. We're huge on warming up leftovers and splitting meals and stuff like that because it just does save a ton of money. And, so you can think about that stuff. When we eat breakfast, we'll usually eat half of it because nobody needs to eat a whole giant breakfast. Some of the best breakfast places that we love to go are Salt and Ivy at the Aria. We love their food. It's very clean. It's I don't know if it's like 100% super healthy, but they do have really good healthy options. The other place that I would say if you're on a budget, um, ironically, the Pyramid Cafe at the Luxor has a really good breakfast, and their portions are gigantic. I mean, you could eat breakfast for 3 days on one breakfast alone if you just portion it out properly. And I think I've had their biscuits and gravy with their potatoes. Oh my gosh, so good. And Stan gets an omelet everywhere we go. So he loves their omelets too. And so those two for breakfast for sure. And then for lunches, I mean, gosh, we've been to Jason Aldean's. We've been to the Rainforest Cafe. We've been to, oh, that's the other thing. If you know you're going to Vegas and you're probably going to be eating out or spending a lot of money, Costco has some really good gift cards. So they usually have a deal where you can get gift cards, let's say $100 worth of gift cards for like 75 bucks. So that's another way I've done um things to save some money. Like we wanted to go to a really nice dinner and there's a place called Morton's Steakhouse up there and it's a super nice restaurant, kind of pricey, but I went ahead and bought, I think $200 worth of gift cards for 150 bucks. So that saved us about $50 on our meal there. And I mean, probably one of the best steak dinners I've ever had. The other place we ate on that same street was called Cleaver, I think, which is a kind of a higher end steakhouse. That one's really good too. No complaints, but definitely pricey. So it's not a place you're going to save a bunch of extra money if you're gonna go eat and eat well. But definitely really nice places. The other, like what we usually do is we'll do Nacho Daddy, which is off Harmon, kind of by Planet Hollywood. And then the other Mexican place we like is called Husong's Cantina, I think, which is in the Mandalay, the Shops at Mandalay place or something. It's in between Mandalay Bay and Luxor. And then we also like that little Irish pub that's in there. There's an Irish pub at New York, New York that we like. Tom's Watch Bar is always really good. That one's kind of outside New York, New York. And oh, New York, New York has Broadway Burger Bar, which amazing burgers. Like if you're a burger person, it's definitely it's so good. I think we've been there, gosh, 3 or 4 times. We we wind up going back to the same places all the time because we get in, I wouldn't say a rut. We like places so much that it makes us want to go back. Um, Burgers too, and then street tacos. Stan always gets the street tacos at Flanker. We love Flanker. It's at Mandalay Bay and we eat there quite a bit. And also Citizen at Mandalay Bay is really good. So, I mean, there's so many options for food. I'm sure that we haven't even scratched the surface. We've eaten at House of Blues. That's always really good too. Again, Mandalay Bay. And I don't know, Bellagio didn't have a whole lot of restaurants that I wanted to eat at. We tried the the big buffet, the Wicked Spoon at Cosmo. If you're an MGM Rewards member and you're gold or platinum, I believe you get there's a deal for like a buy one get one free buffet, which is pretty good because I think it's like a $75 buffet. I don't quote me on that, but I think we got maybe it was yeah, I don't know how much it costs. I just know that it was really good. We don't eat enough food to ever do buffets. So that one for us kind of it's the food's amazing, but it's a buffet and we just can't I can't eat that much, so I almost can't justify doing that very often. The other, let's see, I'm trying to think of where else we've eaten at that was really good. We don't do your normal Gordon Ramsay, high-end chef type things because there's so many other good places to eat that most people don't talk about. So I think that's why we do what we do. There is a little restaurant. I can't remember the name of it. It is in Bellagio, but it's kind of in that back corner if you're on your way up to the tram station or if you're going to go the back way to the Vidara. It seems like it's never open. We just happened to catch it open one time I think they're only open for dinner, but that one was really good too. I want to say it's something called like Harvest or something. Um, but there's tons of restaurants, and I mean, I don't think you'll ever be disappointed if you just go in, and they always have something different and they always have their own spin on things. I will say I wasn't really very impressed with the ice cream at, I think it's called Milk or something. There's this ice cream place at Cosmo, and the idea behind it is it's like cereal milk. So all of the milk that they use in their ice cream is kind of like extra sweet or something. I wasn't I didn't I don't like it. But that's just my own personal preference. So, but you could try it if you really like cereal and you like the cereal milk that goes along with it. They have different flavors, obviously different types of cereal milk flavors. But you know, that's kind of an odd one. We took my son to Vegas this February when he turned 21, and I let him choose what we got to do. And one of the things that he picked was to go to Area 15, and we did the John Wick experience. And that was totally worth it. It was a little pricey. I don't know that we had any kind of discounts or anything for that, but it was a really good experience. Basically, not to spoil it, but it's kind of an escape room. And I don't think we really understood that or really knew that going in. But I mean, maybe that was just our lack of planning and just, hey, let's just go do this. We do that a lot. We don't have any idea what we're getting ourselves into. We'll just go, hey, this sounds fun. So the John Wick thing sounded really cool. And for Stan and Hunter, they absolutely loved it. And I mean, I loved it too. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't as familiar. So if you haven't seen the movies, it may not be it may just be like, okay, this is a really cool experience. But if you've seen the movies and you can tie in all the things that are coming from the movie and that theme, it makes it probably that much more enjoyable. I don't know. So that was a really good one. That Area 15 is an interesting place. It's several different buildings. They have a lot of different activities that you can do. It doesn't cost you anything to go there or to get in. You can walk the buildings and do whatever, and then you just choose the different experiences you want to have. And I believe they sell packages. So you can buy packages of different things. We just bought the John Wick experience alone by itself. It costs a little bit to park, not a big deal. I mean, not at all like parking on the strip. So just plan on that. Pretty much anywhere you go in Vegas, it's going to cost you money to park. And so that's why we love like having the MGM rewards and parking. We park anywhere we want at MGM hotels for free because we have that. And now we have the valet and everything. So we hardly ever have to worry about that. A lot of times I'll try to figure out where we can park. You know, if we're doing something that's farther up on the strip, we'll park near Bellagio, and then we'll either take a tram or the monorail or something to get there without having to drive. And, you know, sometimes we just pay for the parking. There's sometimes when it's just worth it to pay for the parking. I like to walk, so I've walked from, oh, I don't remember where we were staying. I think we were at Luxor or the W. Stan was working an event at the Venetian for they were working some kind of a an event, and so I wound up having to walk up there to get him something, like to give him something while he was working. And I parked at MGM Grand, and I got on the monorail and I rode the monorail up, and you can get right off near the Venetian. There was sometimes it's not always clear which stop to get off on. So that's the part that I love. I actually don't mind. I'll go, okay, I'm going to just get as close as I can and then figure out the way around. And then a lot of times while I'm doing that, I find shortcuts and other ways around. So, um I like knowing where I'm at, and I don't have this fear of getting lost. And I think I like doing that because it just it just gives me more information, and you can look up stuff all you want on Google Maps, but it's not always right. Apple Maps, same thing. It's not always right. And there's only so much technology can do for you. And the rest of it's just kind of your own critical thinking and testing things out and not being so afraid. Um, I never got myself in a situation where I thought I was like really lost. So there's signs everywhere. And if you just know your landmarks, you start walking in a certain direction, you're going to eventually get there. It's just not that hard. And there's nothing to be afraid of. I guess that's kind of my big spiel on Vegas. And, there's definitely things that we haven't done that I would like to do. We've done the Wax Museum. I would really like to do the Eiffel Tower sometime when we're there. We've been there for New Year's and seen all the fireworks. We've been there for New Year's and we've gotten rained out and froze. And then, I don't think we've ever been for 4th of July, but we've done 2 New Year's for sure so far, and that was a really good experience. Um, well, at least the first time was really good. The second time we got rained out, and but we had a room that actually had a really good view of the fireworks. So we were able to stay in our room and hang out, watch the fireworks. And I'm such a lightweight, I go to sleep right at midnight, right after they're over. So that was kind of what I did. But other than that, I mean, we've done a lot of cool things. The flyover is right on the strip. It is, it's kind of right down in the middle by that Brewdog rooftop bar. Kind of, it's hard to explain where it's at. I think by the Hard Rock Cafe. You go in this little building. It's like a ride, but it's an immersive ride. And you're watching this video of I'm assuming drone footage, but you get the full experience like you're flying, and it is amazing. We've done that 3 times. And you can buy tickets for that online. It's really cool. I really enjoyed that. We will probably do it again. Um, and we've actually gone up to Vegas just to go hiking. We've stayed on the strip and then we've gone out to the Red Rock Canyon. We've gone hiking. We've gone on the scenic drives. You can drive up to Mount Charleston, which I think in this, like, I would say fall or spring. It's probably the best time if you want to be up there when it's not super, super hot, but also Mount Charleston gets snow in the winter. So that's kind of cool. You can even stay on Mount Charleston. I think there are some cabins and stuff up there that you could stay at, which is really cool. I think a lot of people forget that there's actually a whole thing outside of the strip. There's another place we want to go. It's north of Vegas. I don't remember. It's the Valley of Fire, I think is what it's called. And sometime we're planning to rent a Can-Am or something like that and go see the Valley of Fire because that seems like a really cool. They do tours and it just seems like it might be a lot of fun. So, I mean, again, this is just a whole thing about Vegas. We were there 33 times last year, and I gotta say, we probably spent less money than anyone would ever imagine that we would spend going there. I mean, I would say 30, let's see, if we were there 33 times, we probably only paid a little bit for rooms about 4 or 5 times. So I mean, when you're getting rooms for free, you gamble $100 or something, you're gambling a little bit, but you didn't spend anything to stay there. So, and then sometimes you win money when you gamble. I mean, we won some, not anything to like write home about, but sometimes we break even. Sometimes we come home with a little bit more. I wouldn't recommend gambling money that you don't have. So definitely make yourself a budget. But I mean, you look at it as entertainment cost. How much are you going to spend to go out and entertain yourself? If you spend $200 on concert tickets, okay, but you could also spend $200 gambling and possibly win some money back. And then, but you have to keep control of it. That's the main thing. It's like if you're going to gamble, do it smart. I'm not a big fan of throwing money away. I'm, you know, to me sometimes I feel like it's you could just drive down the road and toss the money out the window. It's about the same effect, but at the other, on the other end, there are benefits to doing it. You're getting points, you're adding to your room comps and all that stuff, and it helps you get it gets for us the whole point of going up there is just to get us away from the Phoenix area and the just the rat race and for I don't know, it's one of those things. We own a business. Every time we leave the house, the phone winds up ringing. So if we're just sitting around not doing anything at home, just taking care of home stuff and cooking and organizing and cleaning and doing all that stuff, our phone's not really ringing. And all it takes is for us to actually leave the house to go do something, and then the phone starts ringing. And so then that's where the work comes from. So it's been one of those strange phenomenon, I guess. And our phone's been ringing off the hook lately. We've been gone so much the last few months, traveling and doing so many different things that it's our phone is ringing constantly. But that's a story for another day. So anyway, again, just wanted to help people out on their Vegas trips if they're planning a trip to Vegas. I do have another podcast I'm going to record that has to do with conventions in Vegas. So if you happen to be getting ready to go there for a convention, I have some tips for that because I've been around a few conventions up there in my time now. The last 2 years. I'd never been to Vegas before 2 years ago, oddly enough. And now I feel like it's like my second home. But um yeah, I've got a bunch of tips for how to survive going to conventions in Vegas. So that's going to be one of my next podcasts. And if you like what you're hearing, I'm going to be talking about all kinds of different topics, not just Vegas, not just travel, not just money. I mean, kind of a whole lot of other things. So you never know what you're going to get on this one, but I assure you it will never be boring. You can subscribe, definitely share with a friend if you feel like they could use some of these tips. And you can reach out to me at Next Level Awareness Podcast at gmail.com if you have any questions or just want to leave some feedback. That is more than welcome. And then, catch me on the next one. I will talk to you again next week. This is Dana Austin with Next Level Awareness.